Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Ark Survival Ascended, and I want to show you a video that has 13 game mechanic changes that have been created from Ark Survival Evolved to Ark Survival Ascended. I'm going to show you 13 things that you may or may not have noticed. If you haven't played yet, these are 13 things that you're going to probably enjoy. Pretty much all of these are beneficial in some way, shape, or form, and they're all something that should make you look forward to the forward progression that Ark is making. If you don't mind, smash that like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and then consider subscribing to the channel if you do not mind. My dream has been to get to 100,000, and I'm getting close. All right, so the number one thing that people are realizing, and I think that I noticed as soon as I got inside of this game, right, was the fact that breeding is completely reworked. Now, some people might not like that. Some people might like that. It's all personal preference, right? Basically, what it means is they've made it so you don't, and at this point, you just no longer have to have one breed from the beginning of Ark until the very end. You can literally have created mutations and transfer them to wild tames. And then I've also heard that they've kind of started to add in that wild tames can actually spawn in with specialized like color regions and mutations that actually have points, which is a pretty big change in all honesty. It's something that I think has been not necessarily missing from Ark, but it's certainly a nice inclusion to see something along those lines get added into the game. And it's just a massive thing when you have a new breeding update, because a lot of people really enjoy that kind of stuff when they have those additions. I'm trying to find something in the wild so I can show you that right now, and I'll kind of keep looking while I kind of do some of these other points as well. But breeding kind of got reworked, and that's a massive change for a game that is kind of entirely based off of breeding if you think about it. Now, that's the first thing. The second thing is massive dino updates have occurred. They reworked the appearance and added special abilities to all kinds of creatures. Anything from the Rex getting a roar that'll scare things and like they literally just sprint the other direction. You also have actions that the Oviraptor can now pick up eggs. You have the actions of the dung beetles can now pick up poop. It's just a whole bunch of things have changed, and the dinosaurs themselves have benefited, in all honesty, right? And it's just one of those things that's a nice little addition. You can see this guy's just picking up poop, and they've thought about it willingly to change how the actual game works. Now, again, some people might not like that they've kind of changed some of the dinosaurs and reacted differently and, all that stuff, but they have truly changed the actual appearance. They have changed the dying animations. They have reworked pretty much everything about the dinosaurs in this game. Now, the next thing I want to show you is a huge upgrade from Ark Survival Evolved, and that is the map. The map is brand new. It actually works. It actually makes sense. You can move around. You can ping things. You can add waypoints to the map and in real world. You can clear things easily. You can zoom in quickly. It's very user-friendly. And you can see that unlike the last one where you would zoom in and it would just be so blurry that you couldn't see anything, this one actually gives you the ability to ping the exact coordinates, give some nice little layouts of the actual boxes and stuff like that. And it just does a very good job. This new mechanic is a game changer, especially because you can track things, track areas, track creatures. Massive change inside of Ark, right? Now, again, I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I have spent time on that in the past, but it's a big thing. Now, the next thing, and a lot of people are really appreciating this one, including myself, by the way, is the total rework of structures themselves. Now, structures essentially mechanically have been reworked so they have a nice convenient system that you can play down, and you can see that this looks nice, right? It's blending like you would imagine that Ark should have done in the first place, where things snap well together. You no longer need to try and figure it out. They snap and they don't have as much terrain-based issues, and it just seems to seamlessly blend a lot better than it used to. You can see that there's still some of the old school things where you can't build near other people, which makes sense, right? But when you are ready to build and you place it, it's very nice with the things that they've changed. You can raise, you can lower, things snap very easily. You have a nice convenient little pointer arrow so you can actually see where you're going to place things. It'll automatically snap up, down, left, and right in order to get you where you want to go. It's just some really nice convenient changes that have been made inside of a game that desperately needed changes like this for structures. Placing things work better. They introduce new structures, quite literally everything, right? And that's kind of just very important. Now that kind of brings me into my next point that blends in a little bit to this, my fifth point. So structure functions essentially have been changed as well. And what do I mean by that? So there are structures like the tech generator, right? You can see that there's a nice giant bubble over us, so I can see what I actually power. I don't know if you see the yellow power nearby, the bubble that I've got. That'll actually show you the actual distance that it's capable of covering. It runs, it shows you the amount of fuel it has. There's a bunch of things that have been added and blended from a mod called S+, and that mod essentially has been added into Ark, and it gives you a whole bunch of useful little features. Things now run off of gas power, and they only run like Industrial Forge, for example, runs off of power instead of needing gas to power it itself. A whole bunch of convenient, user-friendly, quality of life things have been added into structure functioning, which is a major, major change. Now, the next thing, right? I'm going to go ahead and shoot this creature here. Creature pathing has changed pretty significantly, right? So one thing that people misunderstand is they think that creature pathing has changed in the better, and it's not necessarily the case. What they changed about creature pathing is essentially creatures now will try and figure out the best way to get to you, right? So if I decide that I'm going to hide behind a tree, you used to be able to hide behind trees for some of the larger dinos, and it was kind of laughable, right? You'd be able to just run from them in that regard. However, now larger creatures will knock over trees, and if I'm trying to hide behind this hill right here, right, instead of just getting stuck in the distance, if there's a point in which the Brontosaurus will be unable to get to me, he's essentially going to run away and turn around to try a new angle, or he's going to turn left or right, where in the past you'd be able to just get him to stare up at you awkwardly. They totally reworked how creatures move. Now, that's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing because it's very difficult to survive in some situations. But I like that kind of addition. So that's a number 6 right there, that dino pathing. Number 7, and then this is one that hurts a little bit, right? Because they have only released the island as a map, they removed a ton of end game content. Anything from cryopods, which is like one of people's favorite things, to end game dinosaurs, including gotchas, managarmers, anything that wasn't originally on the island is not on the island. So griffins, all that kind of stuff, anything that's kind of like your usual metas, if you want to say it that way, wyverns, all of that stuff, yeah, not on the island anymore. This no longer works, so you don't have access to a lot of those things, engram wise, creature wise, anything. All of it's been removed. You are back to square one Ark. Doesn't seem like a big change, but that's a massive mechanic change because people are going to have to figure out new mechanical systems in order to actually get their stuff working, and that's a big change, right? Now, speaking of that, right, that kind of leads into my next point, number 8. This is the move speed removal. If you haven't seen it yet, it's not here anymore. Now, if you're playing on single player on an unofficial server, you can still activate it. I like that it's not a thing, if you ask me personally. I thought it was stupid that you could level your movement speed so much that you could outrun any creature in the game. I don't like that. The fact that you can just not get run down by something that's like 30 times the size of you kind of confuses me. Not gonna lie about that. Those things are stupid fast, and then you can just pump your speed, and that's really all the meta was, right? No one cared about anything else other than speed and a little bit of health. So removing that's a big welcome change in my opinion, especially for PvP purposes, because now you've got to figure out more of a tanky style build instead of actually just sprinting as fast as you can anywhere. And that's just, to me, big change, right? Now that's important. It's not a major thing to some people, but to a lot of PvP members, that's going to matter a ton. Now, the next thing, right? This is one of my favorite things. I'm not going to lie to you. I love this. If you hold R now, you get a menu. And that menu gives you the opportunity to pick a attachment and quickly add it to your stuff. Now, what I really like about this is I can select this as I am moving. Now, to me, that's a massive upgrade. I no longer need to worry about other shenanigans if I'm running through the woods and I'm like, hey, I really would like the ability to change what I'm working with right now. So I can hit my R button and then change the actual interface there. Mechanically, that's going to change a lot of things about PvE and PvP. Because if I can change, instead of stopping behind a tree, hitting inventory, getting what I want, putting it in my inventory, putting it on my weapon, taking it off, so on that stuff, I can do it on the run, meaning that certain weapons are going to come back into usability instead of just being broken, right? Because you had to switch to them and they were only convenient for some situations like shotguns. They had to be very specific in situations that you could use them. And again, there's just a lot of thoughtful things like that that get added into the game. I like it a lot. Now, that's personal opinion, that's a small thing, but the next thing, I love this. So this is the dino damage number update, right? So no matter whether it's a melee or a shot, where you hit a creature matters. If I hit it in the head, it's going to do exponentially more damage than if I was to hit it on the side, right? Because that's what makes sense. If you hit something in the head, there's a 9 shot, right? Now I'm going to go ahead and show you. This guy might not have it because it's a mod creature, but they reworked the hitboxes of creatures, meaning that you literally can do more damage with melee weapons, and that includes when you're biting with a creature to their areas that are more sensitive, right? So like a creature like a Triceratops isn't going to take damage from the front, but they're going to take a ton of damage from the sides. Big update, right? So that's something that people need to be aware of, because now when you're in a fight, you're going to aim for the head, and that's actually a intentional design instead of something that I'm trying to find something that I can show you that with, but it's a major update. Like mechanically, maybe it means that going head on into everything isn't the best move, trying to back in with things that have like a little bit of a bite range issue, right? So it's a big change. I can't find a creature to show you with, but I don't know why. They've all disappeared for some reason. I hear a Rhinio down there, but you know, whatever. Yeah, massive changes like that are just kind of reworking how people think about the game, because now you have to think about, oh, I can't just head charge into everything like old Ark. I've got to think about what I'm doing and modify and update. And that's a cool thing in my opinion. Now, the next thing, I like this one a lot, right? If you have a torch and weapons, they have changed how torches and other weapons work. I don't know why I just misspelled that, but you know, you can see, here we go, torch skin. Now what I can do is I can actually place this in my personal like inventory, right? I'm gonna go ahead and use it, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and click it, provides light. Now I can also place this on the back of a creature, and you can place it on your hip, which is pretty freaking cool in my opinion. So yeah, it's just something that's a neat little addition, right? So when I put it in my belt, so see how I've got it right here. If I put it away after I have it in my hotbar, why isn't it showing? There it goes. If I right click, I'm gonna go ahead and show you. It puts it in your belt, and you have a belt torch. So you don't have to have it out. It gives you the light source, but they have a whole bunch of things like that that are just kind of modified and changed how it works, right? So you can, it's just, weapons themselves have been reworked how they work. I noticed the shotgun does exponentially more damage, the small shotgun, and people are like, oh, you don't like the word exponentially. Well, it does ridiculous. Like the spray seems better, so it seems to work better. And that's a big change in my opinion. So torch and weapon usage is going to change. People are going to find more tricks, more things because of the update to the new system. Unreal Engine 5 adds a whole bunch of usability, and it allows for better overall everything to seem to work well together. Now, the next thing I want to show you is the hidden menu bars. Now, this is one that I set to Z. It's not always Z, but you've basically got a smart menu that exists inside of Ark. So you've got your normal hotbar at the bottom. However, if you hold, your button is going to be Q. Consoles, I don't know what your button is yet, sorry. But if I hold that button, it's going to create a smart bar. Now, that page will continue to grow and grow the more stuff I have in my inventory, and it's going to give you things that you either typically use or things that are consumables. Now, the reason that that's a super nice access list is because sometimes you don't have things in your hotbar, or you don't want something in your hotbar like food or drink and stuff like that. And if you hold Z, or Q for most of you, it's going to open up a menu with that option in order to eat raw meat, for example. Anything like that. It's a nice mechanic change that is going to give simplicity once people start figuring that out and how to actually use it properly. Now, this entire video, I'm sure you've been noticing the major differences in the UI. For example, right? I'm going to show you the pinwheel change, right? Or whatever you want to call it, the emote wheel, whatever. It's all looks much cleaner. It seems to function much better. Instead of like being a click and like it just drops, you have a little slider bar that gives you an approximation of where you're at here. It gives you a nice readout of everything, so you know kind of an example of what's going to happen instead of just words existing. And in general, the UI has completely overhauled, like pet slot, offhand slot. This whole area has been reworked. Your governance, your alliances, groups, tribes, everything itself has been reworked. And it looks amazing. It works very well. Even the generic menu has been reworked, and that's a big change for Ark, right? Because we're talking a game that's old, 9 years old. So when they put out this Ascended game, they reworked all of that stuff to make it simpler, easier to follow, and they've done a very good job with all of it. So If I haven't sold you on it yet, I promise you it's one of those games that it takes a little while to learn, but it is 100% worth it if you like single player, unofficial servers. Official can be a little toxic, but it's a lot of fun to play. A lot of the changes are well worth it. They do a good job. You can see that they've got supply drops that still exist in the water. Kind of funny how that works. I always thought that was interesting. And it just seems to work. Like, the game seems to flow very well. There's still going to be glitches. There's still going to be problems. But that's 13 different game mechanic changes that have been introduced into Ark Survival Ascended. Hopefully this video helps you out. It's kind of different from my last one, quality of life things. I'm trying to like group things together with updates so people can kind of see them. And hopefully this video helped you out. That's all I got to say. If you disagree, agree, put something in the comments below. Let me know. And other than that, again, try subscribing to the channel. I try and push out as much content as I can. And hopefully you're enjoying it. All right, teach. Ow.